Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to 11 Yanks Breakdown, where we discuss all things USMNT. I'm Pete Douthit, and today we're continuing our discussion of Gregg Berhalter's systems of play, and more importantly, asking how they fit in with this next generation of American players. So last week, I made this video talking about Gregg Berhalter's tactics in 2019. Guys, all soccer, but especially international soccer, is about taking advantage of your player pool. It's about understanding that you have these type of players and playing to their strengths and covering for their weaknesses. The only thing that should dictate your style of play is the kind of players you have available. It's not the coach, it's not the federation, and it's not even the fans that should dictate the style of play. It is the player pool. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the main guys who are going to be playing for the US for the next 10 years. What are their styles of play? What are their strengths and weaknesses? And how can we use them most effectively? Christian Pulisic, he can beat you on the dribble 1v1. He's very direct. He wants to take you on, use his pace, use his technique to get in behind you and cause problems. Gio Reyna, direct, incisive passer, good at receiving the ball in the half turn and creating separation with one or two quick movements. Weston McKennie, tough in the tackle, wants the ball, wants to get it forward, wants to drive at you, very good in the cage, very good in one-on-one duels. Tyler Adams, good defensive presence, knows how to protect his back line. Good but simple passer. He understands his role. Either receive the ball or win the ball and look for the next attacker to give it to. Before we go further, guys, if you're new to the channel, welcome. Hit subscribe. We've got new videos every Tuesday. If you're already subscribed, smash that like button. It helps people to find us. Here we go. Sargent. Good in the air, good with his feet, traditional number 9, checks back to hold up play, to receive the ball, to combine with teammates. Needs to work a little bit on the intelligence of his runs, but also a very direct attacking player. Tim Weah, Ulianes, Sergino Dest. When they get the ball, their instinct is to attack, to penetrate, and to score goals. We have more technical players than we have ever had, and a lot of people think that having technical players means that you automatically then should play a possession style of play. But this generation of American players is more technical than the last generation, but they still have that directness to them. They still have that explosive attacking energy. This might be a little bit of an oversimplification, but the style of play that best suits this next generation is more Jurgen Klopp than Pep Guardiola. It's more France than Spain. It's less death by 1,000 passes and more death by 1,000 shots on goal. The truth is, this generation is better suited to a Jesse Marsch style of play than a Gregg Berhalter style of play. That being said, Gregg Berhalter's the coach, not Jesse Marsch. So what I'm going to do is look at different styles of play, different formations that will take advantage of this team's strengths and cover for their weaknesses. Okay, so like I said earlier, our player pool is not set up necessarily to be a possession-oriented team. Our players are direct players. It's win the ball and attack. That should be the motto of our attacking core. Now, there's two formations that I really like for this player pool, and the first one is the 3-4-3. This is a formation I think we should use against lower-ranked CONCACAF opposition. So basically, anybody but Mexico. Most teams in CONCACAF are going to bunker. They're going to sit back against us. They're going to try to frustrate us, foul us, maybe try to hit us on the counterattack. Because of that, we don't really need to have a back four. We can allow Anthony Robinson and Sergino Dest to bomb forward on the flanks and join the attack. First of all, you've got the protection of a back three, which allows them to get that high up the field. An aggressive midfield pair not only helps to protect the back line, but it also helps to win second balls when they're cleared by the defense. People like Pulisic and Reyna might start a little wider, but they're going to come inside to play as forwards, leaving space on the wings for people like Dest or Robinson to bomb forward and put crosses in. In a crowded defense, those crosses could be cleared, and you want Adams and McKennie to step up into the space and win those second balls. Having a really aggressive front three also allows us to press the ball early and high up the field. Now, some people might point to the fact that Frank Lampard tried to use a 3-4-3 at Chelsea last season, and when he did that, Pulisic wasn't always in the lineup, and that was supposedly because Pulisic didn't really fit in that formation. That's not true. Pulisic is a slashing winger. He starts wide, but he comes inside, whether that's with the ball or without the ball. And when he does that, Anthony Robinson is ready to overlap. Gio Reyna has largely played central for Borussia Dortmund. But he can also play as a winger, and this is kind of the perfect place for him because he can either start wide and come inside, or he can start inside and play as like a second attacker. He can also overlap when Dest comes inside. It allows for a lot of interchangeability, and I think it's a formation that will really benefit our player pool when we're playing teams that want to sit back and bunker against us. Does this formation have weaknesses? Yes, it does. And the 3-4-3 formation is vulnerable in the wide defending areas. So places that your fullbacks would usually be defending are oftentimes left open. Now, there's two ways to remedy this. One is you have to make sure those long balls are not played from the defense into those vulnerable areas, but you can do that by pressing high up the field. That's exactly how this formation works. You stop the danger here rather than waiting for it to become a problem here or here. The other way that you can stop it is if a team is able to play into those channels, your back line has to scoot over and they have to move together. So McKenzie now acts as a left back and vice versa. Richards or Long acts as a right back. And while you're defending on one side, it allows time for your other fullback like Anthony Robinson to drop back and help defend. Now when we're playing Mexico or playing teams from South America or Europe that are clearly better than us, that's where I prefer we go back to a 4-2-3-1 formation. It's simple, it's flexible, it's very safe defensively, it allows us to protect our goal, but you can also play it several different ways. You can play it as a low block, you can play it as a high press, you can play it as a mid block. The main advantages of the 4-2-3-1 are obviously that you have this double pivot sitting in front of your back line, protecting them. You've got three guys in midfield, so that means it's very difficult for the opponent to play through midfield. Your fullbacks are obviously playing as more traditional fullbacks, so yes, they can bomb up the field, but defense is still a huge part of their job. In this case, when Anthony Robinson bombs up the field, Dest stays and vice versa. The two fullbacks can't always attack at the exact same time, but that creates balance and safety defensively. Having a back two allows Reyna to really be creative going forward and join the attack and almost play like a second forward in certain moments, which is what we see him do at Dortmund. He's very good at that. He's also very quick to get back and defend when we need to. Another thing I really like about the 4-2-3-1 is the flexibility and interchangeability of these three guys. At the Gold Cup last year, we saw Pulisic play inside and Areola play on the wing, and they would overlap and interchange with each other, which is really good. That's exactly what you want. You don't want your attacks to be linear or in a straight line or predictable. When Pulisic comes inside, either Reyna can overlap, or Reyna stays here, Anthony Robinson overlaps when Pulisic comes inside, Reyna goes wide, and then Morris or Weah or Yanez or Tyler Boyd are all players who can kind of play in the pocket. They can come inside and almost play like a second forward. It allows for overloads and overlaps and ways to disorganize the opponent, as Gregg Berhalter talks about it. Another thing that's great with this formation is that it allows McKennie to venture forward in the right moments because he knows he has Adams behind him. When McKennie does that, Robinson and Dest will probably have to play a little bit more conservatively and not go bombing up the field too much, but we know that McKennie offers a lot in attack, particularly when he's in the box, attacking corners. He's very good in the air, but he's also very good on the dribble, and he's good at scoring goals. We've seen that from McKennie before. So this allows him to get forward and kind of play as a box-to-box midfielder. He takes advantage of his defensive instincts, but also gives him a little bit of freedom to attack in the right moment when the attack is on. One of the weaknesses of this formation is that sometimes your center forward can be a little bit isolated because he doesn't have a lot of support. But one of the ways you can remedy that is that both Josh Sargent and Josie Altidore do this very well, by the way, is come back into midfield to hold up the ball. What this does is it forces your center backs to make a decision, one of them at least. Do they follow him inside and try to prevent him from turning or receiving the ball? If they do, that leaves space in behind that Pulisic or Morris Weah can exploit, can get in behind. If they don't follow him, then it's easy for him to join the midfield and start some build-up play and attack them that way. So these are formations that I think can be very effective and very useful for the player pool. Obviously, there's variations of this and there's different ways to play them. And we have to understand that a lot of the time, the way we play will be based on not only the opponent, but where we are in the game. What's the scoreline? What's the game state? Can we play more conservatively? Can we keep possession of the ball to take the sting out of their attack? Can we press them high up the field? When do we sit back and hit them on the counter? By the way, just because the US has been traditionally known for sitting back and hitting teams on the counter doesn't mean that we shouldn't do that anymore now because we have better players. If we decide to sit back and defend in any moment in a game, what we're really doing is inviting the opponent to come out and leave space in behind. And nobody is better at exploiting space in behind than this player pool. Someone like Christian Pulisic can rip you to shreds on the counterattack. We've seen him do it to Manchester City. We've seen him do it to Liverpool. We've seen him do it to Real Madrid when he played for Dortmund. I think that we should take every advantage of our ability to defend deep and play on the counterattack in the right moments. Now this is the part where I tell you guys to leave your thoughts in the comments and thank you for watching, but I want to do something a little different here. I want you guys to tell me in the comments what kind of videos you want to see going forward. Do you like the tactical stuff that we've been doing? Do you want to see more roster related stuff, state of the player pool kind of things? Do you want to see young player stuff? Do you want to take a hypercritical look at a single player's strengths and weaknesses? Do you want to look at the player pool by position and rank our options? Whatever it is, your feedback helps me to know what kind of videos I can be making that you guys want to see. Thanks for watching as always. Check out some of our other videos and I will see you next Tuesday.